Neegi and Kirigiri are the two main protagonists of the series that work together to solve murders and try to over Junko's influence on the world. Both characters discover vital information and use it to help themselves on their mission. But who did it better? Who was smarter? Let's find out. The first section is spatial and the first category is observations of materials. Kirigiri seems to get this one since she recognized the cameras around the facility and noticed that people were only dying in front of the cameras, which she also gave Neegi a hint as to this as well. Since she noticed this first, she gets this with medium difficulty. Next is observation of space. Similarly, Kirigiri gets this one too for similar reasons, recognizing the outlay of the building and using that to either assist or avoid certain places as well as find clues to get out of their situation. Kirigiri gets this with hard difficulty. Last is puzzle solving. Kirigiri gets this as well as she uses the combination of both previous things to come together and connect everything, forming a plan around all this information. Kirigiri gets this with medium difficulty. Kirigiri won all the categories, so she gets the overall points, giving her 27 points and Neegi with a 0. Next is Intrapersonal and the first category is understanding your own intentions. Kirigiri seems to get as she is fully aware of what she is doing and relies very little on luck to save her compared to Neegi, who relies more on intuition rather than actual understanding. Kirigiri gets this with medium difficulty. Next is understanding what you will do. Kirigiri gets this one as she usually is able to form a method to save herself compared to Neegi that is more luck reliant. A D simply goes for something rather than considering. Kirigiri gets this with medium difficulty. Next is understanding your limitations. This is somewhat difficult to figure out. On one hand, Kirigiri recognizes her limitation or what she is restricted by and uses that to work with, while Neegi recognizes the situation somewhat sooner and tries to work with people to overcome his limitations. This suggests that Kirigiri is better in this as she relies more on herself for what she can do and knows who to trust compared to Neegi, who might overlook things that shouldn't work out for him but he tries anyways. Kirigiri gets this with hard difficulty. Next is understanding your knowledge. Neegi seems to edge this out very slimily, realizing how despairing their situation is but instead using it to work for him instead of letting it overcome him. Neegi gets this with hard difficulty. Next is adaptability. Neegi seems to get this one as Kirigiri was left dumbfounded when she recognized some of her situation, but Neegi was able to see it for what it was and attempted to use it to his advantage. Neegi gets this with medium difficulty. Last is emotional control. Both characters have had their ups and downs, but in general Kirigiri is more focused on the task while Neegi tries to get everyone to cooperate and gets more emotional when he has trouble getting through to people. Kirigiri gets this with medium difficulty. Kirigiri won more points, so she gets the overall points, giving her 21 points and Neegi gets 7 points. Next is linguistic and Neegi gets every category as he uses his wording to influence other people and convince them to do what he wants compared to Kirigiri, who doesn't attempt verbal influence on anyone. Neegi gets these with medium difficulty, meaning he gets all the points and the overall points, giving him 22 points and Kirigiri 0 points. Next is bodily kinesthetics and Neegi seems to take all these categories as well. He was dodging constant oncoming attacks from other peers working with him, while Kirigiri never really shows any kind of athletics in any manner. So by default Neegi gets these with easy difficulty, giving him 21 points and Kirigiri with a 0. Next is interpersonal and the first category is understanding others' intentions. This is close, but it seems to favor Neegi as he realizes people's intentions and tries to work with them to better the overall goal. Neegi gets this with hard difficulty. Next is understanding what others will do. Kirigiri seems to get this as she often uses what others will do in her own plans, realizing what Neegi would do after she seemingly died. Kirigiri gets this with medium difficulty. Next is understanding others' limitations. Both are fairly even in this, but Kirigiri usually recognizes people's limitations much sooner than Neegi does. Kirigiri gets this with hard difficulty. Last is understanding others' knowledge. Similarly, Kirigiri gets this one as well for similar reasons to the previous category, as both characters understand the knowledge others have, but Kirigiri usually recognizes it first. Kirigiri gets this with hard difficulty. Kirigiri won more points, so she gets the overall points, giving her 25 points and Neegi with 4 points. Next is existential and all the categories go to Neegi as he is a symbol of hope and believes in the good in everyone, wanting peace between people. As well, Kirigiri forms her own beliefs based on Neegi, so this goes to him even more so. Neegi gets these with medium difficulty, giving him all the points, giving him 12 points and Kirigiri with a 0. Next is logical, and all the categories go to Kirigiri but through hard difficulty. Kirigiri edges out Naegi in all these categories, gathering information more neatly, deducing it quicker, and using it to a better degree. There are times when Naegi was able to figure things out before Kirigiri was, but in general Kirigiri is the first to recognize these things, so she gets all the points, giving her 31 points and Naegi with a 0. Next is musical, and this one is somewhat hard to figure out as there's not much given to show musical intelligence. The most we have to see shows similar or the exact same things Kirigiri and Naegi react to. There are some instances of Kirigiri being left alone in pitch black dark rooms and being able to sense other people around using sounds. By this it suggests Kirigiri gets these categories simply recognizing things sooner and having slightly more showings. Kirigiri gets this with hard difficulty, giving her all the points, meaning she gets 17 points and Naegi with a 0. The last section is Naturalist, and this one is also very hard to decide upon as not much goes for the first two categories under this section. At most it would appear like Kirigiri would edge out these categories, being a detective, which on some level requires an understanding of elements and how they work together. As for animal nature, they both seem to be fairly good at this. Kirigiri anticipating actions leading up to her death and what Naegi would do after it, and Naegi being able to sway people's emotions through some animal nature understanding. However, Kirigiri seems to get this too since she is more consistent in it. Kirigiri gets all these categories through hard difficulty, meaning she gets the overall points, giving her 23 points and Naegi 0. After analyzing both characters, Kirigiri gained 144 points to Naegi, who had 66 points. Both Kirigiri and Naegi were good at a lot of the same things, only Kirigiri was better more times than not, which is why she got more points than Naegi did. Kirigiri is more aware of what she's doing, which played a big factor in why she won compared to Naegi, who was unintentionally doing some smart things. Kirigiri won, so she'll be moving on to the next round. Did you enjoy this video? And what do you think of the results? Was this expected or surprising to you? Let me know what you think in the comments.